Have you ever wondered how the world's most contested land, the Israel-Palestine region, ties up with the apocalyptic prophecies of the Book of Revelation? The history of this region is a complex tapestry of religious claims, wars, holy sites, and profound cultural significance. Our journey today will trace the chronological history of Israel and Palestine, from the ancient claims to the land to the modern-day conflicts that continue to shape its future. We'll be exploring pivotal events and wars that have left indelible marks on the region's landscape and psyche. Along the way, we'll also delve into a fascinating detour: American conspiracy theories related to the Israel-Palestine conflict. We'll explore how these theories have shaped perceptions and influenced policy, and how they tie into the larger narrative of this region's history. Returning to our main path, we'll the sacred significance of the holy sites, revered by millions worldwide, but we won't stop there. We'll be threading these historical threads into the prophecies of the Book of Revelation, uncovering potential links and interpretations that could shed light on the role of this region in the biblical end times. So are you ready for this voyage of discovery? Join us as we delve into the complex history of this region, its biblical implications, and the intriguing world of conspiracy theories. It all started in the late 19th century with the birth of Zionism. This was not a quiet birth, but a tumultuous one, a profound reaction to centuries of persecution and pogroms that Jews faced in Europe. Zionism, an ideological movement advocating for the establishment of a Jewish homeland, was born out of the ashes of despair and hope, with Theodor Herzl at its helm. This movement was fueled by the dream of a safe haven for Jews, a place where they could exist free from persecution. But Zionism didn't exist in a vacuum. In the early 20th century, the land of Palestine was under the rule of the Ottoman Empire, and it was home to a majority Arab population. The dream of Zionism, a Jewish homeland, was to be built in a land that already had an indigenous population, setting the stage for a conflict that was both political and territorial. In the midst of World War I, the British government issued the Balfour Declaration in 1917. This document expressed Britain's support for the establishment of a national home for the Jewish people in Palestine. While this might have been a diplomatic maneuver to win Jewish support during the war, it had far-reaching consequences. Following the war, the League of Nations granted Britain the mandate over Palestine, with the responsibility of implementing the Balfour Declaration. However, the Arab population of Palestine saw this as a betrayal, a denial of their right to self-determination. Tensions between the Jewish immigrants and the Arab Palestinians began to rise, erupting into sporadic violence. What started as a dream of a safe haven had quickly turned into a cauldron of conflict. Both sides, fueled by their historical connection to the land and their sense of national identity, were unwilling to back down. The British, unable to reconcile the competing national aspirations, eventually decided to leave Palestine in 1947, leading to the United Nations Partition Plan. This period set the stage for a conflict that would shape the future of the Middle East and the world. As the 20th century rolled in, the region was engulfed in a series of wars. These conflicts were not mere battles for power or resources. They were deeply rooted in the historical, religious, and cultural ties that bind the people of Israel and Palestine. Picture for a moment the year 1948. The newly formed state of Israel found itself in a fierce struggle with neighboring Arab states in the Arab-Israeli War. This war, also known as the War of Independence for Israelis, or the Nakba, the catastrophe for Palestinians, marked the beginning of a long and tumultuous journey. Fast forward to 1967, just under 2 decades later. The Six-Day War, a conflict of such magnitude that it significantly altered the geopolitical landscape of the region. It was a war which saw Israel capture the Gaza Strip, the Sinai Peninsula, the West Bank, and the Golan Heights, territories that continue to be areas of contention even to this day. Then came the Yom Kippur War in 1973, a war that took Israel by surprise on the holiest day in the Jewish calendar. The Arab nations, led by Egypt and Syria, launched a coordinated attack in an attempt to regain the territories lost in the Six-Day War. The war ended in a military stalemate, but it served as a stark reminder of the deep-seated animosity and unresolved issues that beset the region. Each of these wars served as catalysts, fueling the fire of conflict, reshaping borders, and redefining relationships. The reverberations of these battles continue to echo in the present day, influencing the political, social, and religious dynamics of the region. But beyond the battles and border disputes, these wars left a deep scar on the region, fueling further tensions between Israel and Palestine. They are a somber reminder of a complex and unresolved conflict, a testament to the enduring struggle for identity, land, and survival. These wars form the backdrop of a narrative that is as old as time itself, a narrative that continues to unfold even today. In the heart of this conflict are sites revered by Jews, Christians, and Muslims alike. Let's take a moment to delve into their spiritual significance. Nestled within the ancient city of Jerusalem, these sites are more than just places of worship. They represent deep-rooted faith, centuries-old traditions, and a shared yet contested history. Firstly, we have the Western Wall, or Kotel, an enduring symbol of Jewish faith and the last remnant of the Second Temple, destroyed by the Romans more than 2 millennia ago. Here, Jews from around the globe gather to pray and place written prayers in the wall's crevices, continuing a tradition that spans centuries. Then, we have the Al-Aqsa Mosque, the third holiest site in Islam. It's believed that Prophet Muhammad journeyed from Mecca to Al-Aqsa during the night journey and ascension, an event of significant importance in Islamic tradition. This mosque is not just a place of worship, but also a symbol of the Islamic connection to Jerusalem. Lastly, we find the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, a site of monumental significance for Christians. It's believed to house both the site of Jesus' crucifixion and his empty tomb, making it a key pilgrimage site for Christians worldwide. These holy sites are not just symbols of faith, but also focal points of the ongoing conflict. As we navigate through this intricate tapestry of history and religion, we begin to see the deep-seated roots of this dispute. The book of Revelation speaks of end times, wars, and the rise of the Antichrist, but how does it tie in with the Israel-Palestine conflict? In the midst of the turbulent history and the ongoing strife, some theorists see the Israel-Palestine conflict as a fulfillment of biblical prophecies. The book of Revelation, the final book in the Bible, is often brought into the conversation. Its cryptic visions of catastrophic wars, the rise of a world leader known as the Antichrist, and the ultimate battle at Armageddon are seen by some as foreshadowing the events we see today in the Middle East. One of the most cited passages is Revelation chapter 16, where it speaks of the Euphrates River drying up to prepare the way for the kings of the East, leading up to the Battle of Armageddon, a site located in modern-day Israel. Some interpret this as a direct reference to the geopolitical tensions in the region. Furthermore, the book of Revelation also mentions a rebuilt Holy Temple in Jerusalem, a topic of intense debate and a point of contention in the Israel-Palestine conflict. This has led to various interpretations, with some theorists suggesting that the construction of this temple could signal the onset of the end times. As we continue to witness the unfolding events in the Middle East, we can't help but wonder about the biblical prophecies and their implications for the future